All right, first and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Makaha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS where I learned from. Shalom to all for elect, preaching this word in true sincerity to you ribs, to you sisters out there learning in silence and staying in order. I say to you all, Shalom. Right. As you already know, we're in April 2026. War with Iran is still continuing. Prices on things go up, obviously, due to, these wars. I think out here in Massachusetts, a gallon of gas for regular is about $4. Other places it's probably like five and a half, like California, right? And on top of all of that, there's food droughts and fires as well. It says drought engulfs 60% of U.S. as farmers begin spring planting. Right, this is from Zero Hedge. A massive drought has emerged across large swaths of U.S. agriculture belt, threatening crops and livestock, eventually affecting food prices at a time when fertilizer diesel costs are soaring. As early as April, 60% of the lower 48 is in drought as the northern hemisphere growing season begins and farmers begin planting, according to NOAA. The southern U.S. is already experiencing severe, extreme, and even exceptional drought conditions, putting pressure on key crops such as sugarcane, rice, and peanuts, while fruit trees have also been damaged by extreme temperatures. Right, that's the map. You can see it on the screen. Right, Florida is all red. Places in Texas. Like, these are the places where you know they grow the most, and also where there's beef and all that. Personally, I believe that this is systematic. This is done on purpose, um, to create, plan to the demics, to create a lot of chaos, right? Because order comes out of chaos, according to them. And this is what they're hoping for, man. Total, submission, right? So the people beg the powers, right, for a better system, which is coming, which all leads to the MOTB. And it is definitely around the corner. I know we say that a lot. We always bring that about, but that is the goal. That is the end goal. That is the end game. And day by day, they get closer and closer to it. If they could do it tomorrow, they would, man. But it's all of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Right, it says across the Great Plains, otherwise known as the nation's breadbasket, winter wheat farmers are being forced to decide whether to keep the struggling crops or cut losses and replant, with dry soil also making germination harder. A drought also complicates matters for ranchers, as the nation's cattle herd is already at its lowest level since 1950, and as a result, some ranchers may further reduce their herds, which will only push beef prices to new record highs. Right? So, beef was at like what, $3 and some change, maybe $6. Now we're at $12. So it's coming, man. Right? The people are going to beg for a new system, beg for fake meat, beg for fake what you call it, vegetables. Right now there's people that shop only organic, me myself included. I try my best to keep it as natural as possible. It's gonna come a time where all of that's gone, and you're gonna be you know, drink it out of a pouch or something. Where Egypt, aka Babylon, America, makes it illegal to grow your own crops and penalizes you. The city that I'm in, one of the cities in Massachusetts, you're not even allowed to have chickens, right? But the town over, there's a one town over, which they allow it, which is like there's no real difference between the two. But pretty much it'll be federal law that you can't grow your own crops or have your own livestock, right? That's total control. It's what they want. This is Leviticus 26:26. And when I have broken the staff of your bread, 10 women shall bake your bread in one oven, and they shall deliver your bread again by weight, and ye shall eat it and not be satisfied. Right? So you're gonna have a portion of food that you're gonna have a crowd of people eating out of the same basket, and you're never gonna be satisfied. That's what's coming. That's what's coming to a city near you. To all of us, man. We gotta pray that, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, holds us, in a safe place and his blessings, man. Like, make sure the Lord has us covered. Make sure that our walk, our faith lines up with what the Heavenly Father has ordained us to. Salak, bear with me. Looking for this precept real quick. Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Yeah, man. You see that line going around that Costco. That was just for a winter storm. Imagine when people realize that there's a food shortage and, people start racking up at the last minute. It's going to be way worse. It's just like, you see those Black Fridays where people start fighting over like electronics. It's going to be worse than that.
I'll grab that shit.
This is Isaiah 32:13. And upon the land of my people shall come up thorns and briars, yea, upon all houses of joy in the joyous city, because the places shall be forsaken. The multitude of the city shall be left. The fort and tower shall be dens forever, a joy of wild asses, a pasture of flocks. Right? It's going to be desert everywhere, man. But there's also going to be people, robbing, stealing, things of that nature, running up in people's houses, right? Destroying one another. Right? And this second Ezra 15:17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of the pride of the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, right? So it's going to be running up in people's houses, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, right? That's what's coming to a city near you. But anyways, I pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Kahakdash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who I learned from. Should I want to throw for a letter, preaching his word and truth, sincerity to you ribs. To you sisters out there learning in silence and staying in order, I say to you all, Shalom.